Good morning. We're continuing the VEROSCOPE analysis of Wendi Adelson, who is on the witness stand being cross-examined. If you're new to the trial, and you might be, this is Dan Markel, who was murdered by hitmen, shot in the head twice. On the right-hand side is his wife at the time, Wendi Adelson, who arguably knew about the murder plan because her mother has been convicted and her brother has been convicted, and Charlie Adelson, and Charlie's girlfriend, Katherine, whose trial this is that we're going to be watching in a second, has also been convicted. And she's sentencing a life without parole sentence. So we're going to listen to Wendi, and then we're going to be running through the analysis, and we're up to part 4. If you haven't seen part 1 of her cross-examination, you don't need to. You can watch this from here. But if you find this interesting, go back. I've put it into a playlist along with some of Wendi's other videos, including her police interview. So go back and watch those if you get the chance. But let's carry on. Oh, and the trial channel, by the way, if you haven't subscribed to the trial channel, it's an excellent channel for edited trial footage. So do go and check them out if you get a chance. And obviously, if you haven't yet subscribed to VEROSCOPE, I would very much appreciate that as well. All right, let's carry on with where we left off about a minute later from where we're playing. But it's worthwhile playing this first minute just to catch up. If I can press play, that is.
To be true.
Okay. He made the joke right before, and I'll leave out the hitman part. Professor Markel was killed.
He made the joke the morning that I talked to him.
Can you think of one person in this world that would actually hire two people to go kill Professor Markel other than your family?
No.
Ms. Adelson, please address me and answer the question.
So as a pattern, she's attempted to show off her lawyerly skills and has questioned this particular attorney's questioning techniques. She shows and displays her arrogance. Her facial expressions have been obnoxious. And now she turns to the judge as if this attorney has asked the most ridiculous question and is overreaching. So it's a chance for her. She's in a lawyerly battle, in effect, with this attorney inside her mind. Turned to the judge there, didn't get much help, and is now asked to answer the question.
For an unbelievable amount of speculation. I mean, I'm responsible for coming up with. That's the prosecutor's duty, no, to figure out who's responsible.
You just said.
Notice when we use forensic linguistics, we analyze the words very carefully, because very often at the unconscious level, we get things come out in their words, which we can sometimes call leakage. Now, leakage is one of those difficult problems because there's no real proof or evidence other than it happens all the time. And after a while, once you've seen it on a personal level again and again and again, you acquire a sense for when the leakage is just coincidence and when there might be something more to it. But we'll never really know because we can't go inside the person's mind. So as an example here, she says, "I am responsible," a number of times. But within the language and within the setting of the conversation. So is it leakage? We'll never know. But we note that she states, "I am responsible."
A moment ago, that you disagree that hitman killed Professor Markel. That's what you said, right? So my question to you is, if you're able to say, well, it wasn't hitman, then who? Tell this jury. Who on this planet would have wanted to kill Professor Markel?
I have no idea.
All right. Let's get into that a little bit. But I want to make sure that's clear. This joke is made right before Professor Markel is murdered, right?
The joke was made many times.
It was made right before Professor
She's
Markel was
difficult,
murdered.
isn't
Yes
she?
or no?
Yes.
Would you July 18, 2014, you're interviewed, and you make a statement saying, "I knew this would happen." You said that, right?
I did.
All right. Now I want to talk about it.
So is that leakage? I knew this would happen. We would need to go back to the police interview and see the circumstances under which those words appeared. She obviously thought it through, realized she'd better say "I did," because that's going to stop the attorney drilling down into the questioning. He obviously also doesn't want to go too far into the questioning. He's highlighted the point about what she said and he moves on. So I suspect it's a weak point from him. But she did say that.
Your knowledge and your belief on this, you're a smart person, right?
How am I supposed to answer that?
Well, let's go through your resume. You went to Brandeis University, right?
I did.
You graduated magna cum laude.
I did.
If you could explain to the jury what that means.
It means I studied a lot and got good grades.
All right. It means, and to speak, I'm from the Northeast. My Boston accent may give it away. It means you're wicked smart, right?
That's very
You had a high
nice of you.
GPA, a very high GPA.
Her attempts at what was her attempt? Her attempt to be humble there. It's rare. And then the smile afterwards, when she was given a backhanded compliment by the attorney. She really thinks that she's a smart cookie. But she's not.
I work hard.
You also went and you got a master's degree from the University of Cambridge.
I did.
You were a Gates Scholar.
I was.
You then go to the University of Miami School of Law, which is a top-tier law school, Tier 1, right?
Okay.
Right? We're talking about your level of intelligence. You went to the University of Miami Law School, right?
I did, yes.
You also clerked at the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, right?
I did.
Now, to get a clerkship out of law school, it's a very difficult thing to do, right?
It's challenging.
You have to have top grades. You have to go through a rigorous selection process, right?
Yes.
You then become a professor at the Florida State University College of Law, right?
Yes.
You're also a published author, right?
Now you're just embarrassing me.
Why are you embarrassed that you're a published author?
I don't like talking about myself.
In the murder trial of her husband, her ex-husband, she has this happiness, this smile on her face. I believe she finds it difficult to live in the real world. It's almost as if she's living in a complete fantasy land. And her fake attempts at humbleness are as fake as her blue contact lenses that she wears on occasions when she wants to be remembered. If we look at her police interview and the alibi architecture attempts that she started, I think part of the reason why she spent so much time in the shop buying the bourbon was to establish and saying to the shop assistant, look at my blue eyes, which were fake contact lenses. That was part of her alibi architecture. I don't think she's got them in today.
Is it because the book that you wrote discredited Tallahassee and spoke ill of it?
The book did not discredit Tallahassee. It wasn't about Tallahassee.
Let's stay on topic and ask the question again with everything that we just went through. You're a smart woman, right?
I am a smart woman.
About reading stuff. There's podcasts,
Also not to listen.
TV shows,
Also not to watch.
articles.
Don't read.
And so you've made the decision. Now you're a lawyer yourself too, right?
I am.
And you made the decision, I'm not going to look at any of this stuff.
Correct.
I don't want to know what happened to the father of my 2 children.
Not I don't want to know what happened.
How can you say you love those boys if you don't care who killed the father that they loved?
Of course I care who killed the father that they loved.
Then why won't you look at the stuff?
I've been advised not to.
Are you afraid that when you look at it, you're going to realize that your brother did this?
I am not afraid of that.
Now, of course, you've, and we won't get into privileged communications, but you've spoken to your lawyer about the case.
How are we not getting into privileged communications? Yes, I've spoken to my lawyer about the case.
You're very intelligent. You have one of the top defense attorneys in the country, former federal prosecutor John Lower, right there in a blue suit, right?
He is my attorney.
You're telling me with all of this at your disposal, your intelligence, his experience, and all this information, that you don't care to find out who it is that killed Professor Markel?
This is not that I don't care to find out. My job is to take care of those boys, and that is what I do. I don't see how it helps take care of them to go reading and watching and soaking up all of the horrible information that's out there.
You don't realize that you could be helpful in finally untangling this to give this jury the truth about what happened to Professor Markel?
I have been nothing but helpful since this started.
To what happened to their son? By you looking at it, you are at the center of all this, but you won't look at anything to help in the process.
I've done nothing but help in this process.
You came here and testified.
I came here and testified. I spoke to the police for 6 hours without anyone present. I signed over my cell phone, my car, my house, everything, my computer. What else do I have or know that you haven't seen?
You came here because you were subpoenaed and had no choice.
Correct.
Yes, what else haven't we seen, Wendy? That's a very good question. When somebody asks those types of questions, it's not from an innocent frame of mind. It's almost fishing.
Right?
This is not fun. I would not do this by choice.
You've been inconvenienced.
I've not been inconvenienced.
Professor Markel was shot in the head.
I'm not complaining about being here. This is my duty. I'm here.
We'll get back to you complaining about being here. Do you honestly expect this jury to believe that you haven't confronted your brother about all of this?
Yes, I do.
Yes, you did confront him?
Yes, I do expect them to believe that I did not confront my brother because I didn't.
Or maybe you don't need to because you know the truth in this case. You already know it. That he went behind your back, right?
Did not happen.
Just like he has done with past boyfriends. He's done that in the past where he's gone behind your back when you were having problems in a...
So we notice in a denial, we look for a denial to be reliable. So did not happen. And the inability to speak on the accusation is a deceptive marker.
Relationship and dealt with it himself.
No.
Miss Adelson, you understand that until you expose your brother what he did, that everybody's going to consider you as guilty. You understand that, right?
What is the question that you're asking me?
You understand that until you expose your brother and explain what he did, that he went behind everybody's back, that he hired a hitman to murder your ex-husband, you'll remain guilty in the eyes of the world.
I can't speak to the eyes of the world. I can only know that I have done nothing wrong.
Or maybe you are guilty.
I am not guilty.
So, a witness in this case, and I'm not going to get into their testimony, but one of the hitmen, the convicted hitman, implicates you. On July 17, 2014, the day before the murder, the morning before, he says that you were walking on Trescott with the 2 boys, that you walked down the driveway and into the house.
That never happened.
Right, because Professor Markel, he had the kids. Based on the way that your guy's schedule was, on that day he would have had the children.
That never happened. Oh dear. For those that have been following VEROSCOPE, you'll understand the laugh. Excuse me, it's very early in the morning. I'm about to leave on a trip. I'm traveling, driving through Europe. So if this isn't up to my normal standard, that's why.
Morning, and you're going through such a bad divorce, you wouldn't be at his house, right?
I wouldn't be at his house anyway, but not because we were going through a bad divorce. At that time, things were pretty copacetic.
All right, so we're coming back to maybe you do know, or maybe you were involved.
Excuse me? What's the question that you're asking me?
I'm giving you a header of what we're talking about so that it will ease you in the question. Okay? I'm just telling you.
So the aggression is starting to come out. The real Wendi. You can imagine poor Dan behind the scenes as he got to know this woman. The microaggression on the stand comes out. The look on her face, the sheer hatred. It seeps out of her.
With the topic that we're on, so we'll get to a question. Now, the government asked you about a time that you met Miss Magbanua.
And it's mixed with contempt, arrogance. She shows an awful lot. Happiness at certain times when she talks about the divorce or Dan's death. Notice when she laughs and when she's happy, when she's arrogant and when she's obnoxious. It all tells a tale.
It was actually spring break of March 2014, right?
I believe so.
You went down to Miami. You stayed with your brother Charles.
I went down to Fort Lauderdale after being in Immokalee and stayed with my brother.
You then went to Miami Beach to Yardbird and had dinner outside with your boyfriend at the time, or who you were dating, Jeffrey Lacasse. Katherine Magbanua was there, and your brother Charles Adelson, and you all ate outside, right?
We did.
And that's on Miami Beach, not in Fort Lauderdale.
Correct.
Now, just for context.
Okay. So how many times has she met with Katherine? If anyone knows, do put in the comments. Is it just the once for a short period of time, or does she know Katherine?
Jeffrey Lacasse. He was also an FSU professor, not at the law school, but an FSU professor. Nice guy, right?
I don't think so now.
Now, you deny, I'm assuming, that on July 13, 2014, you told Jeffrey Lacasse that Charles looked into hiring a hitman. You deny that, or you admit that?
I deny that.
And that you told him that Charles looked into hiring a hitman back in September of 2013.
So the laughter about, is it the ex, I think, telling the truth? Interesting.
That never happened.
Which would have been
Never happened.
months before your brother even met Katherine Magbanua.
I don't remember when they met.
Letting you know the topic we're on, we're talking about you being involved. That same week, earlier in the week, you sent an email. We're talking about the week of the murder now, not spring break, the week of the murder, not Yardbird, the week of the murder. You sent an email to Jeffrey Lacasse saying that you wanted to break up, that you needed space, right?
I did.
Sent him a long email. Stay away. We're broken up. Right?
I did.
You knew that on July 18, 2014, Jeffrey Lacasse was leaving town to go.
So that's an interesting way of communicating. Stay away, we're broken up. Interesting, isn't it?
On a trip, right?
I knew he was leaving at some point that week. I don't remember when.
You knew that he was leaving on the same day of the murder at the same exact time as the murder.
I don't think I did.
11 a.m. on July 18, 2014.
I don't think I knew when he was leaving town.
It's a good way to put the blame onto somebody else. You'd agree on that, right? If it happened, it would have been a good way to put the blame on somebody else.
I have no idea when he was going to leave town.
Your interview, July 18, 2014, you said, my brother, he joked about hiring a hitman. Perhaps that was you just planting a seed to divert the attention of law enforcement away from you.
It was not.
So we look for tenses and we look for change in tenses. So if she said, I had no idea, that would be different than I have no idea. So we look to see if somebody's talking in past tense or present tense, and does the tense change, all these sorts of things. And we note it in the document, and eventually we'll have patterns within the statement.
Let's jump off topic right now and talk about your boys' names. That in the time after the murder, you changed their last names from Markel to Adelson, right?
A year later, yes.
Why?
I was scared
Of what?
of someone coming to attack them.
So it's a year later, you won't look at anything because you don't want to know what's going on in the case. And the thought is, well, they're going to be protected if they have my last name and not Markel, right?
Yes.
Now, years later, arrests are made. It's clear who committed the murder, Sigfredo Garcia, Luis Rivera. The Adelson name has been dragged through the mud. Why haven't you continued to protect your boys and changed the name back?
I will be changing I'm not going to change the name back. I don't think that will help. One day I'll change all of our names.
Wow.
The government asked you about immunity, so let's get into that. You explained that as an attorney, you understand that when the government gives a subpoena for somebody to testify, that it conveys immunity, right?
That's my understanding. My knowledge of criminal law dates back to 2003 when I took a semester in law school, so forgive me.
Graduated law school, right?
This isn't my area of law.
When you clerked on the 11th Circuit, it was with Judge Jordan, right?
I did immigration appeals.
Yeah, but you still dealt with criminal stuff as well, too.
Very little.
So your understanding, though, is it doesn't mean they can't arrest you. They just can't use what you say here against you later on. So you're protected.
Correct.
And you needed that to testify, right?
It's just given to testify. It's not a question of whether I needed it. It comes with testifying.
You fear being charged by them, so you need to have that protection of your words.
I don't fear being charged for a crime I didn't commit, no.
Now, y'all had this nice exchange where it was pleasant, but there's actually tension.
So she qualifies the fear of being charged. She doesn't say, I don't fear being charged. She adds a qualification. So she doesn't fear being charged for a crime she didn't commit, but she does fear being charged for a crime that she did commit, is the definition of her language. So then we would have to ask, well, what crime are you fearful of being charged for that you did commit? Do you see? It's very subtle.
Between you and this office, right?
No.
They recently had your brother, Charles Adelson, arrested, and he's in custody, right?
Correct.
For first-degree murder.
Correct.
And there's no tension?
It's very uncomfortable to be here. It's hard to tell where the tension is coming from.
They've discussed your involvement in this case. They insinuated it on the direct examination. There's no tension?
Lots of media insinuates that I did something I didn't do too. I can't feel tension towards every person in the world.
That's funny. I thought you didn't look at anything.
I don't. That's why.
But you know that you know about the media, but you don't know about the media?
I know about the media because it keeps me from employment. It keeps me from lots of things in my life. I'm aware of what's there, but I don't read the minutia so I can sleep at night.
Ms. Adelson, 5 minutes ago you said you don't look at any of that stuff. Now I asked you a question. Let me finish.
Sure.
5 minutes ago you say you don't look at any of that stuff. Now I ask you a question, you say you look at stuff.
That's not actually what I said. I said I'm aware that it exists, but I don't read it. I don't listen to it.
Then how do you know that they're bashing you?
You just told me they are.
I did?
Yeah.
How about this? We'll come back to it. You can think up a better answer, okay?
I'm not thinking up an answer. I'm telling you that.
With her narcissistic nature, I suspect she reads everything.
Truth. I'm sorry if you don't want to listen to it.
Your basic understanding of criminal law, though, you know that if the defense gives you a subpoena, you get no immunity.
Correction, improper question.
I'm not going beyond that question.
All right, that's the only question you can ask on that.
If I give you a subpoena, you don't get immunity, right?
Correct.
Now, let's talk about your parents. The government asked you about your mother and father, Donna and Harvey, right? The government could do the same and subpoena them so that this jury can watch them get questioned, not nicely how Ms. Kappelman questioned you, but to be cross-examined by me.
Objection, improper question.
I'm going to sustain that. Ask a different question.
Are your parents here in Tallahassee right now?
No.
Are they back in Miami?
Yes.
Do they have any plans of coming here this week or next?
I don't think so.
Now, your family dynamic. It is your mother and father, Harvey and Donna. There's you, you're the youngest, Charles, and then the oldest, Robert. Right?
Correct.
And he's a doctor up in New York.
Correct.
Now, the government asked you about the relationship, and you're like, we don't talk much. It's actually much deeper than that with Robert, isn't it?
We don't talk
At all.
at all.
And the reason is because your parents were so difficult about the woman that is now his wife.
That is not the reason why we don't talk.
I'm not talking about the reason why you don't talk. Let me clarify the reason why your parents don't talk to him.
That's not the reason why they don't talk with him.
Are you saying to this jury that there wasn't a problem where they outright objected to his marriage of a woman that was not of the Jewish faith?
That was initially what happened, and then there was actually a beautiful reconciliation, and they're very happy about the marriage.
Robert and his wife, not your family.
Robert and his wife and our family were very happy about Robert's marriage.
So what happens is that Robert is in love with a woman. Your parents object. He breaks up with her and then dates a Jewish woman, right?
And then they got married and divorced, and then he got back together with the person he wanted to be married to. Yes.
With his true love.
Yes.
But there was a lot of tension in your family because of your family's involvement in the kids' marriages, right?
Yes.
Let's talk briefly about your children. The government had asked you, and the topic of the Jewish faith, keeping kosher. You mentioned a bat mitzvah at one point in time. You're currently planning a bat mitzvah for your oldest, right?
No, it already happened.
Okay, now that is a very, Christopher, I'm obviously not Jewish, but my understanding is that it is a very, very important thing in the Jewish faith.
It's a very important milestone.
And for those that are very conservative in the Jewish faith, those that keep kosher, so to speak, it's even bigger.
I don't know that it's more important to one segment of Judaism over another, but it's an important coming of age ceremony.
It's where a boy becomes a man. Did you invite Dan Markel's parents, the kids' grandparents?
I did.
You invited them?
I invited them, yes.
When was the last time they saw face-to-face their grandchildren?
April 20th.
Of this year?
Just now.
And you agree with me that it had been years since 2016 since the last time they had seen them?
The visit stopped when they threatened to put my children in foster care, yes. But up until that point, they did have visits.
But you got no problem letting them see your brother Charles, right?
I'm sorry?
You have no problem letting them hang out with your brother Charles, who's now sitting in custody for first-degree murder.
Well, they can't see him now, can they?
No, they can't, but I'll ask the questions. For years, they weren't able to see their grandchildren despite their pleading to you to see them. But you let me finish. But you let them hang out with your murdering brother, right?
The children were permitted to see their grandparents. I cooked for them. We had play dates. They had sleepovers. When a letter surfaced that they were trying to have my children placed in foster care, the visits stopped. My brother never threatened to put my children in foster care, and if he had, the visits would have stopped with him too.
You say you love your boys.
I do say I love my children.
Don't care about the father that they love.
I never said that I don't care about the father that they
Then
love.
look at some of the discovery and help.
So here we see a flash of the real Wendi. I think she's an extremely dangerous individual. And I would imagine that if she's arrested at some point in the near future, that consideration would have to be taken into when that happens.
Figure it out.
Excuse me?
Then look at some of the evidence and help figure it out so that more lives aren't ruined by this.
I seem to not
Mr.
understand.
Garza, you need to ask a question now. You're making statements now. You need to ask a question.
Understood, Your Honor. If I could have one brief second to check with co-counsel. Ms. Adelson, we started this by saying that this is all about you. It started with you because of this marriage, right?
No. Well, you had tried to say that, but I don't agree.
Ms. Adelson, I'm going to make one final attempt through questions to implore you. You understand that you can't protect your brother Charles, who's going through this case, and protect yourself at the same time. You understand that, right?
I'm here to share the truth with you. I don't know how to answer the question.
Then please end the madness and share the truth. Will you please share the truth with this jury?
I've been sharing the truth since I walked in here. I've done nothing but share the truth.
You know what happened here, despite your claims to the jury that you haven't looked at anything, you haven't discussed with anybody, and you haven't confronted your brother. You know what happened here, right?
I do not know what happened here, and if I did, I would have shared it with the police 8 years ago.
You know that your brother went behind your back, don't you?
I do not.
Like he always does. This is something that he has always done, isn't it?
Not.
You found out after that your brother had done this and gone behind your back. That's why you were thrown up at that dinner, right?
No, it's not.
You know that it didn't involve Katie either, right?
I don't know anything about...
If you're not going to say all of that and finally give the truth, why don't you just admit to this jury that you're guilty?
Because I'm not guilty.
One brief moment. I got nothing for you.
Redirect.
So you were asked about the reason why you stopped contact for a period of time between your ex-husband's parents and your children.
Yes.
And you referenced a letter that you characterized as the grandparents threatening to put the children into foster care. Is that an email that was sent from the Markels, to my office?
Yes.
Okay. And that was in reference to, in the event that you and the people that care for these children, who at the time were very young, were arrested, that the grandparents wanted to make sure, because they live in Canada, right?
They do.
They wanted to make sure that a specific organization could be contacted to care for the children so that someone was there to care for them until a relative could get there.
I don't
Right?
remember the bit about a relative getting there.
Okay, well, they weren't just going to leave them in foster care, right?
I don't know.
Okay. But the specific nature of the email, you will agree, was in the event that there's some kind of mass arrest, because they don't know who's getting ready to go to jail next, right? I mean, they're not privy to the investigation any more than you are, right? Law enforcement investigations, they're secret.
Sure.
Okay. And their concern, would you agree the concern ultimately in the email was for the care of the children?
The concern was to make sure the children were under good care, but as their mothers, I know they're always under good care with me.
Right, but
The point is, Wendy, when you're arrested, what happens to the children? That was the point, which you're deliberately avoiding.
No
the
need for
email
foster care.
contemplated you not being available to care for them.
That's not possible.
Because it's not possible for you to get arrested.
Correct. Because I've done nothing wrong and I believe in our justice system.
Okay. Well, just wanted to clarify the nature of that.
Interesting, isn't it? That I've done nothing wrong requires backup. And I believe in the justice system. Do you see? So in a statement, when it requires backup, it's because psychologically it's weak. She knows in her own mind her guilt. She knows her guilt.
In this case, you were asked about, why aren't your parents coming to testify? You, as you mentioned, gave a police interview in this case, right?
Correct.
And consented to the search of your phone, etc. You gave testimony in this case, right?
Yes.
All right. And your parents did not, correct?
They did not give testimony.
They have not testified. They
They've
have
not been
not given a
asked to
police...
come testify, but they would if they were asked.
Okay. And have they given any police interviews?
They would have, but the police never contacted them.
The police did contact them, didn't they? And they refused.
No,
Are they represented by counsel?
they are represented by counsel.
And they'll come testify if we want them to.
If they are under state subpoena, just like I was, they would come testify.
All right. And do you know what they would testify to?
They would testify to whatever they know.
And do you know what they know?
I have no idea what they know.
Okay. They've never told you.
No,
You've never asked them.
no.
Because you never had any conversations with them about this murder.
I've been advised by my counsel not to.
All right. So,
Okay, so she's never had any conversations with her brother, never had any conversations with her parents about the murder, because she's been advised not to. And she expects us to believe that. Absolute rubbish.
nobody, including your brother Charlie, has admitted or denied to you any involvement in the murder one way or the other.
Correct.
Same with your parents.
Correct.
All right. One moment, please, Your Honor.
Okay.
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank
The
you.
letter subject to recall?
No, sir. She's free to go about her business.
All right, you're free to go. Thank you.
Okay, you're free to go for the moment. Right, let's catch up with the actual analysis. Pattern 4, questions as answers, control attempts. So when people answer questions with questions, they're either genuinely reliving confusion or attempting to control the interaction. In the cross-examination, the latter is more likely. Is it a question? What is the question you were asking me? How am I supposed to answer that? Are you asking me if I have two boys? So we see a pattern from Wendi. Most of the time she can hear perfectly well. So if she doesn't use this pattern, she uses the excuse me pattern. She doesn't have a problem with her hearing, and the attorney speaks more than loudly enough. Why do they do this? These questions buy time to formulate responses. They attempt to control what's being asked. They show sensitivity to the topics. And with Wendi, the pattern appears multiple times throughout the testimony. So we look for questions as the answer, time buying and control attempts. And we will also, as we get more advanced, if you're a member of the VEROSCOPE channel, where we see a merger of techniques. So we might see, as an example, they question the question, hear the question again, rephrase the question, and then begin to answer the rephrased question. And shortly after beginning to answer the rephrased question, move on to another entirely different either statement or sermonizing type. So we see a merger of techniques which are all individually deceptive indicators, but in a similar way to judo or Brazilian jiu-jitsu or whatever, a single technique isn't going to work, is it? And so eventually, once they get to the higher levels, you'll see the merger of techniques and then applied, and that does work. Pattern 5, weak denial structures. I disagree instead of direct denial. So we look for reliable denials, and we also identify if the denial is not reliable, we identify, well, what pattern are they using instead? So you disagree that your ex-husband is dead because of your family. Yes, I disagree. Now, this is contaminated question to some degree. Yes, I disagree. Do you see that there isn't a denial here? She uses the contamination language in the positive. So this is an unusual pattern. Yes, I disagree. Strong denials are specific, direct, and use past tense. They sound like I did not do X. When people use weak structures like I disagree, they're not actually denying fully. They're creating intellectual distance from the accusation. So we see with Wendi no full reliable denials. Pattern 6, strategic memory claims. I don't remember, she says. The 350,000 example. She expects us to believe that when she withdrew the money from the account, which I understand was half of the money, she didn't know the full amount. It's difficult to work out what half is unless you know the full amount, isn't it? But that's what she told us. So she lies constantly, in my opinion. Implausible behavior claims. Never confronting Charles. So her husband's murdered, and she would have us believe that she's never spoken to Charles. And it's now 2022, so it's more than 5 years. When people don't ask questions they should naturally ask, it's often because they already have the answers, as the attorney pointed out. So we have coordinated family silence. She says she has no idea what her parents know. She uses the phrase quite a lot, I can't speak to, or I can't speak of. It's quite extraordinary, isn't it? The media awareness contradiction. She says she doesn't read, she doesn't listen, she doesn't watch. I don't want to know what happened. Really? Your husband's been murdered, your ex-husband's been murdered. You just don't want to know what happened. Absolute rubbish. Lots of media insinuates that I did something I didn't do. This is not a reliable denial. That's funny. I thought you didn't look at anything. I don't. Yeah. So this is a tell. She claimed not to look at any media. She was caught in the contradiction. Because of her, as I said earlier, because of her complete narcissistic nature, it wouldn't surprise me that she does almost nothing but examine Facebook, YouTube, and all the rest of the media constantly and consistently. I would not be surprised at all that she's watching these videos as an example. It's just how she is. Pattern 9, acceptance without denial. Defense, you have no problem letting them hang out with your murdering brother, right? My brother never threatened to put my children into foster care. See the difference? Now, Dan's parents are very worried about Wendi being arrested for the murder of her son, of their son rather. And so obviously when Wendi is arrested for the murder of their son, they're concerned what's going to happen to the grandchildren. But in Wendi's mind, it's all about her, not about her children. It's all about her. She didn't say my brother is not a murderer. She didn't say that's not true. She didn't say he didn't murder anyone. She didn't say he's innocent. She said, my brother never threatened to put my children into foster care. So if we look back at just this section of the testimonies, section 1 and 2, we have a lot of pronoun manipulation, a lot of unnecessary language, a lot of reasons why words, more than we should see, the so's and the becauses, lots of questions as answers, weak denial structures. We have strategic memory claims, we have implausible behavior claims, and we have contradictions. And just in the short cross, if we add them all up, we've got 100+ deception markers, and therefore a systematic deception pattern is identified. It's more than 5 years of non-confrontation with the family, coordinated family silence, deliberate ignorance about the case, an overemphasis on cooperation. Most of it is forced. We have systematic linguistic deception patterns in her language. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's VEROSCOPE, and I look forward to analysing more of Wendi, and perhaps on Saturday we can put the next one up. Okay, look forward to chat to you in the comments.